Come on, computer. My computer is very slow. It's being so dumb. Anyways, today we're talking about the multiplication property of 0. The multiplication property of 0. Let's talk about something we need to organize in our brains. Can anybody describe what is the difference between adding 0 to a number and multiplying a number by 0? Tiff. Very nice. When you multiply by 0, it is automatically 0. But what happens when you add 0 to a number? Alex, is that what you were going to say? It stays exactly the same. Very nice. Okay, so when we multiply by 0, we always get 0. Now, I am going to teach you how to do these problems. But before we get to teaching how to do them, let's just guess at them. Okay? Okay? What value for W makes that true? How much is W worth for that to be good to go? 0. Nah. Kenny's right. Kenny's right. W's got to be 8. Oh my God, computer. Don't be dumb. W has to equal 8. Kenny, how'd you know that? Did you just guess at it? Yeah, man. 8 minus 8 is 0. Like, let me do this little check I got going on here. Let's check to see if Kenny's right. Although, often he is. Because, yeah, Kenny, you're good. You're a really smart guy. Sometimes you're a goofball, but there's nothing wrong with that. That happens. Right? 8 minus 8 is 0, and 0 squared. 0 squared. That means 0 times 0. 0 times 0 is just straight up 0. That's amazing. Good job, Kenny. You're the man. Man, the myth, the legend, that is Kenny McLean.
What about the girl?
Okay, we'll figure it out later. Let's try this one. Here we go. Here's another example. Here's another example. And let's guess at it. Let's just take a guess. What do you think one of the answers is?
3.
Close. Yes. Very nice, Trevon. Man, one of the answers is definitely -3. One of the answers is definitely -3. Let me show you the check for why that's the case. You know, we could do it in our head, but I'd like for you to see. If we're to try and check this, right, we plug -3 in up front in that x spot. We plug -3 in the other x spot, and then we see if it works. So outside we got -3. Inside we got 0. And what's -3 times 0? 0. 0. -3 plus 0 is -3. Yep. No, it's all good. Now let me give you a hint. Let me give you a hint. There are 2 answers to this problem. Who can? Let's see if you guys can figure out what the other number is. Right?
0.
You're the man. Wow. Wow. This is the fastest it's ever been done today. You guys got it straight off the bat. The other number possible is 0. Because watch, if you plug 0 in out front, it's going to be like 0 times 0 plus 3 equals 0, right? So check it out. 0 times 3. What's 0 times 3? 0. So 0 equals 0. And there's 2 answers. And what do we do with our answers? We've got to put, you know what I'm saying, manly cloud. Manly cloud. Yep. Manly cloud. Here we go. So now I'm going to show you the way to do it each time to always get the answer. Let's not guess at this anymore. Here's what you do. You see where the parenthesis is? In between, I know I'm going to use X's instead of C's. In between, do you see how these things are being multiplied? In between the things that are being multiplied, draw a line. Okay? And then, whatever is on opposite sides of that line, set equal to 0 and solve. So x, we're going to set x equal to 0 and we're going to solve it. Look, it's done. That's one of our answers. And then over here, we're going to set this equal to 0 and we're going to solve it. So we're going to add 8 to both sides, right? Cross it off. X equals 8. And so there's our 2 answers. That's it. No more guessing. Don't need to do anything more than that. That's all you got to do. Okay, let's do this. Come on. So let's do this. So let's check it out. You see it? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'm going to draw that line. I'm going to draw it down right there, right? I'm going to set them both equal to 0. 3x equals 0. X minus 7 equals 0. I'm going to solve them. And that's ultimately going to be my answer. So we don't need to guess anymore. So, because that's how it is, man. Math is, no, it really, honestly, it only gets harder with one thing, and that's you're going to have to know how to factor. Ooh, hold on. What's 0 divided by 3? 0. Yeah, so that's the answer. It's 0 and 7. That's it. All right. All right, here we go again. Here we go. What do we do? What do we do? Julian, what do we do? Tell me, Julian. Quinn? Yep. And Alex, what do we do next? Yeah, you're the man. Wow, very impressive. Divide both sides by 8. You get x equals 0. That's one of our answers. Let's do the other one. Subtract 3 from both sides. X equals -3. That's it. That's our answer. Okay. So here we go. Mo, there's famous. What's that famous song? Mo stuff. Mo problems. You know what I mean? Hold on 1 second, China. Trevon? Kind of. It's not always going to be 0. That 0 is because, we got a random x on the outside. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. So here's what I'm saying to you. I was just trying to be funny. But here we have lots of different terms. We have a monomial, we have a binomial, another binomial, right? We got all these different terms. Do you think that makes the problem like extremely complicated? No. What do you think we're going to end up doing with all this stuff? How many answers do you think we're going to have? 3. We're going to have 3 answers. That's all that means. Draw 3 parentheses. Set them each equal to 0. Look, there's one of the answers. This one over here we're going to have to solve. And this one over here we're going to have to solve. We're going to add 1 to both sides, Here we go. Now let's take a look. Take a look. I'm telling you, this is not too different than what we've been doing, but it's going to look, you're going to get scared by the first one. Let me go dual screen for a minute. What do you notice? What do you notice about it? Do you notice what's one major difference between problem 11 and problem 8? Quinn? There aren't any. Give me another one. Tiff? There's no 0. Alex, is that what you were going to say? That is the single most important factor in all of them. Take a look. Every problem that we have been doing so far has been equal to 0. And so take a guess at what it is I'm going to do with problem 11. What do you think I'm going to do with that? No, we just talked about something. What's the difference between that problem and this one? Just looking at the black. No. Look. No. Take a look. Whoa. Let's not talk about the answer. Let's talk about the steps to get there. China. We're going to force it to be like this one. We're going to force it to be equal to 0. Excellent. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay? So how do you force this to be equal to 0? What do you do to it? No? How would you make it equal to 0? Fabiola? Take away 1. Yeah. That's all we're going to do. We're going to take away 1 from both sides. That's it. So we got x squared minus 1 equals 0. So that's going to be our first step in this process. Set equal to 0. Okay? That's when the problems are really difficult. Now, our next step in this problem is going to be to factor. Factor! Okay? We're going to factor. Now, I have told you and talked to you about these kinds of problems for a while. This problem right here, this binomial on the left side, it's called the DOTS. Dots. What does that stand for? DOTS. DOTS. Difference of two squares. This is the difference of two squares. And when it's the difference of two squares, there's always a pattern to factoring them. You know, you put your x and your x, and you put one of them plus and one of them minus. And then what do you think is going to go in that last spot? A 1, the two numbers that multiply to be the 1. So it's 1 and 1. And then after you factor it, we're going to solve it. Okay? We're going to solve it. So now, it's just like the other problems. We're going to solve these. X minus 1 is 0. Add 1 to both sides. You get x equals 1. Right? We got x plus 1 equals 0. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides. X equals negative 1. In my other class, they said, well, how am I going to remember how to do that? I said, what does this sound like? SFS. How would you say that? Okay. Okay. You ready? You're good? Okay. We're going to skip over that one because I want to make sure we have enough time to get to the end. Okay. Sorry. We got another problem. It looks just like it looks a little different than what we initially started. We're going to force it to be equal to what? 0. Step 1 is to set it equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 13 from both sides. Okay? 0. So that's x squared minus 9 equals 0. So step 1, set equal to 0. It's the first step of. What's the second step of factor? Now, we talked for a minute about what this actually is, right? It's a DOTS. What do those four initials stand for? DOTS. DOTS. Yeah, this is the difference of two squares. This is the difference of two squares. And when you factor a DOTS, a difference of two squares, right, Jose? When you factor a difference of two squares, there's always a pattern to it. Trevon, what is it, buddy? You're the man. Excellent job, my friend. X plus 3 and x minus 3. Excellent. Way to go. Right? So we factored it, and now we're going to solve it. Now we're going to solve it. That's the last step of stands for SFS. Think about how you would say that. Yeah. Right? So we're going to solve it. We're going to set each of these equal to 0 in parentheses. There we go. We'll get x equals -3. We're going to add 3 to both sides. There you go. And that's how we solve the problem. All right. Now let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. Right? Is it equal to 0? So the first step is already taken care of. It's already equal to 0. Whoops. We're done with that. Okay. Then what's the second step in factor? There you go. How are we going to factor that? Quinn. China. We are definitely going to force it to be like that. We're definitely going to use parentheses. You're right on, China. Alex. No, close. We're factoring, right? Do you see anything in common? Fabiola. X, they both have X in common. They both have a GCF. Let's pull that X out. And you're going to get X minus 5. Do you see it? Okay. Nice. So now we factored it. Now we're going to solve it. Right? Draw a parenthesis. X equals 0. That's one of the answers. X minus 5 equals 0. And X is going to be equal to 5. There you go. All right. So if you don't see a number in front of X, what number is it? Nah. 1. Now every time I've seen it, right, is this problem set equal to 0? Step 1 is done. So then what's the next step? Factor! Right? You need to, every time we do these problems, we typically write the words sum and product. This is just like the do now that started our class, right? Can you think of two numbers whose sum is 1, but whose product is -56? 8 and 7. Very nice. What's what, though? Like, which one's negative, which one's positive? Which one is it? Is it +8 and -7? Or -8 and +7? -7, because they got to add up to be +1. So it's -7 plus 8. From here, what do we do? Got to draw that line, and then we're just going to solve it. Right? We're subtracting 8 from both sides, and we're solving it. X equals -8. That's that one. Now we're going to get -7. We're going to add 7 to both sides. Yep. And we get X equals 7. And that's it.